Welcome to Comic Movie 10, where you get insight into everything comic book movies and television related in 10 minutes or less. I'm Joe Kane.
And I'm Dan Kane.
No relation.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe and share and keep up with us at hecklerkane.com.
On this episode of Comic Movie 10, we're going to talk about the movie Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman! Not that one?
No.
Okay, I was excited. I'm excited about this one. Not that one, of course. That was Linda Carter back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was our first look at Wonder Woman on any sort of screen.
Right.
Not really big screen, but...
Right, yeah, and Linda Carter did a great job. But now we're talking about Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot, yes. This girl, she trained for months and months and months and months before that movie to get herself in the peak physical condition to be able to do all of the stunts and
Right.
the movements that she did. You know, just swinging a sword around is a task. That's not everybody can do that.
Right.
So, she put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yes.
And she, obviously delivered what we would consider a good product.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughly enjoyable to watch. She was enjoyable in Batman vs. Superman.
Yes.
But
That was more of a cameo. She didn't really get to flesh out any sort of the character. We had no idea. We had no inkling other than what the costume looked like.
Right.
Going into this, what this story was going to be about.
Right. They did a fantastic job. One of the things is it grossed a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, tell us. You have the box office numbers in front of you.
Okay,
So, what are the box office numbers?
So it had a production budget of $149 million. Domestic gross over $412 million.
Okay.
Worldwide over $821.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Comparing that to the Justice League film,
Yeah.
it crushes.
Yeah, the Justice League film did a little over $6.5 million, and that's worldwide as compared to what did you say, 800 million?
821
million worldwide. That's a big discrepancy of income coming in at the box office.
Right. Well, there's a reason. The movie itself, I think, got a lot of attention. We talked about how there's not a lot of females in major roles in these superhero films. She, you have Black Widow in the Avengers, but she's not she's not a main character.
That was something that DC did very right. Is that they said this is one of our flagship characters. The top three are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
This was an opportunity to see that. But aside from that, no matter what you were, guy, girl, the film itself was a good film. Yeah. To me, it stood out in the DC universe.
It definitely stood out. The writing was excellent. The delivery was excellent. There was a lot of accuracies in there as far as the time period goes. And it was a really good thing to see. Yeah. A strong leading woman. Yeah. Taking grasp of this role and really owning it.
Right.
It's a good role model for women out there.
Right.
To look up to, which, a lot of the superhero things, and just being totally honest, are guy-driven. Yeah. And, having this strong female character as the main central protagonist of a movie is enlightening.
Yeah, absolutely. The story itself is also better than some of the other DC films that have come out. She's on her homeland of Themyscira. Somebody breaks through the bubble, and she finds out about this conflict that's going on in the world, the Great War, which is World War I.
That was Chris Pine's character.
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor, thank you.
Steve Trevor. And she leaves because she thinks that she can help the situation.
Yeah.
And just even aside from her fighting, it was enjoyable to watch the way she portrayed the character just out in this different world.
Yeah, well, think about it. She was completely removed from society, not knowing anything that was going on. I couldn't even imagine if it was, continued like that and she came into society in today's day and age, what she would be looking at, having just all the I was going to say Palm Pilots, iPhones and everything out there. Yeah, Palm Pilots, I've dated myself.
I think about her first experience with ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Great. There were all those little nuances throughout the film, which made this something that was very attainable. And going, okay, well, I get it. She wouldn't have any idea what ice cream is. She wouldn't have any idea what any of these things are. What's a secretary? Right. That was a big thing. Like, in that day and age, it's a good time for a strong woman to come out and go, okay, well, in this day and age, this women are only secretaries. They're not fighting wars and they're not doing the other things in that time period.
Right.
So to have that come out was even a strong message there.
Right.
The strong messages and the well written script and the well delivered visuals that we got out of Wonder Woman are all add up to a box office blockbuster.
Right.
In this day and age, we have the internet where we as soon as somebody sees something, goes, this was awesome. Everybody hears about it.
Right.
20 years ago, 30 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. It may have fizzled.
Right.
But in this time period, right now, it was the perfect time to come out with a movie like this, where it got good word, and people were coming back to see it 2 and 3 times.
Right. Yeah. And we talked about the plot. Danny Houston played Ares.
Ares. Okay.
In the film, so you had this building up to this, conflict with him, where he just stood for pure evil, and she felt like if she got rid of him, that all the problems would be solved.
Yes, but we learned that that's not the case.
Right.
But it has this real world attainability. Like, we feel that, like, if you can overcome one thing, and all the problems will go away. But that's not the way the world works.
Right. Yeah.
It was, the whole story was driven around that.
Yeah.
And it's really well put together that you have such a warm, heart-moving story. And I'll get back, and I said this before, you have Batman v Superman, and the big turning point was that both of their mothers were named Martha.
Why are you saying that?
We've done that before on this show.
Oh, no, well, that was... Superman is alive because his mother's name is Martha.
Yes. That's not, to me, is not a powerful driving story motivator.
No.
And that's just one of those things that it is, that the DCEU is not, hasn't came through on those other movies. Now we have a female directed, female starring, high action, energy, protagonist and superhero.
Right. And it was more real emotion.
Sure.
In this film than any of the other movies that DC has been putting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it stood out to me. We could talk about box office numbers, but just quality of film.
Yeah.
And enjoyability. One that I would rewatch of all the DCU films. It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, you know what? I did rewatch it. I saw it on DVD after I bought the DVD, because it was really a good watch, and really something that I wanted to share with people and say, hey, look, this is really good. And that's the reason why we're doing this, is because it was obviously that good of a movie.
Right.
And comparatively to some of the other things that we've talked about here in the past, Justice League was a box office bomb. Comparatively, they are starting to pick up in DVD sales, and after box office release sales, DVD and streaming,
right? And
they're making up the money there. But in theaters, it didn't do so well.
Right.
Okay, and we've talked about that. We're going to put a link in the description below to our other episode for that, so you can hear more information on that. As far as this goes, this was an absolute success for DC.
Yeah.
And this is something that DC needs to look at and model the rest of their releases after.
Yeah.
I would really love to see that. So, in the comments below, let us know what you think about Wonder Woman. We'll see you next time on Comic Movie 10.
We love bringing you these episodes, and we need your help to keep them coming.
Please don't forget to share and subscribe, and keep up with us at HecklerKane.com.